So, welcome back as far as the second part, my interview with Kevin Kirschman from Ripon High School, our science teacher, and we were talking as far as with next generation science standards and the technology integration is, but the other issue, as I had mentioned, was not having the respect of the other sciences. Here in California, earth science has the University of California has not granted what's known as a D or college preparatory lab status to a single earth science course in California. And I know that some of that's being changed, and you've worked with me of incorporating geospatial technology and web mapping. And given that you've started integrating that, some thoughts as far as on that technology integration, as far as earth science and instructional methodology, where it needs to go.
Yes, the next generation science standards have an extremely important component, the engineering standards. Those engineering standards are heavily geared to creating and using models. Not just existing models, but certainly those, but the actual creation of new models by the student based on real data that they now can collect or gather on their own. There's real-time data being provided by sources around the world. It's not in a textbook. That can happen too, because there's lots of information that's been stored over time, but the students have to know how to go back and research that and to dig it out, what to do with it once they get it in their hands. They have to have a model or a template that they can use it on to do with whatever they want to do with it. This is exactly what people in the professional world do. They're trained to go find the information that they need for what they're working on, and they have to have a platform and a model to follow to use it, and then how to disperse it to whomever it is they're communicating with. It has to be done. These kids are going to have jobs that are in that neck of the woods, if you will, expanding just astronomically. Already we need people in coding and creating programs that are much different than in the past. But learning to code is much easier than it used to be as well. Still, they have to make these models, and they have to be able to disperse them out to other people and show, and at least as far as the standards go, the next generation science standards, they need to be able to use use the models that they create to demonstrate understanding of the topic that they are involved with at that time.
Yeah, as far as on that and the models, and again, we're talking about the utilization of computer technology. And I've been sort of saying and seeing from my perspective that if we are going to teach earth science and using the same tools as a laboratory science that earth scientists actually use in their research, that we've got to deal with as far as making earth science much more of a computer-based course that brings in a lot of other issues.
There's no choice, really. Again, earth science historically used as the course to stick students in where they're not probably going to go on further in science. They'll get the earth science course or a physical science course at the same level, and then their biology course, and in California there you have your 10 units for graduation. But if you're going to go on into science, you need to take science repeatedly, and you can't stop there, and it can't be at the level we've been using it on. So the kids are going to have to be encouraged to go on into even more science from ninth grade on. It can't just be 2 years anymore. It's going to have to go beyond that. And in fact, the next generation science standards are being geared in such a way that schools will have to determine how they want to structure their science programs, and a 2-year model probably isn't going to be the most effective way to do it for most places. So once these changes have been made, then the students can go on and take even more rigorous classes. But earth science can't be used as a simplistic class anymore. It does a disservice to the whole purpose of earth science to begin with, as a foundation in a way for so many other disciplines. And it has to be now delivered at a level commensurate with the needs of the technological society in which we live. It can't be a dumping ground anymore. The kids actually need to have something that they can learn those skills. And those kids that I'm seeing, they're mostly perfectly willing to use technology. In fact, often quicker in picking it up than the teachers are trying to stay with it. So I don't think that edge is a problem.
Yeah, but as far as the challenges, if we're talking about making things more computer-based, as being a faculty member saying to your administration, your district, or whatever, my earth science class, I need to make it more computer-based, what kind of challenges is that going to create as far as, or roadblocks or barriers you're going to have trying to deal with that?
Well, of course, there's the technology in your hands right off the bat. As soon as you start talking about classes which require technology, $ flags go up all over the place. And that's true. It is actually true. Computers aren't free, they're not cheap, and when you've got them, they have to be maintained and upgraded periodically, or else you lose the benefits of them. But you've got to start someplace. So the earth science class is going to have to be oriented towards using technology. A paper textbook, well, my textbooks, old ones that they are $100 a piece by the time you get them delivered to the school. $100. You have to have a classroom set of 30-something, and then 100 and something students have to be given a textbook to take home. Students sometimes aren't that great with using textbooks anymore. They do like technology, and they all use technology, but you have to have it in their hands to do that. When you talk to an administrator about, well, I need to have a classroom set of computers to use, $, of course, go up right then, and they're right, it's not cheap, and then it has to be maintained. But you walk into a corporation in the the private sector, and you look around. What do you see? Do you see computers that are 10 years old? Probably not. Not if they're actually competing in the real world. So the whole mindset's got to change. We're not going to be spending tens of thousands of dollars as much anymore on textbooks, and the publishers know that. They've made huge drives to go online, and that's a good thing, I think, because it can change instantly the media that they have online to provide to the students, and it can be kept up current with industry standards that are out there being actually used. Real-time information, not old stuff that's years old by the time they get it into a textbook usually anyway. But it's going to cost money, and there's just no way around that. It's going to take time. It can't be done overnight, and shouldn't be expected to be, but we've got to work towards that direction.
Okay, so we'll take a break, and then we'll come back. We'll talk a little bit about how earth science fits into what our kids are going to face, of how it actually applies to the issues in our society as they become adults.